All right, Lewis, knock him dead. That was a figure of speech. Please don't kill anyone.
I know they're out there. What are you doing up here? Desperate times call for desperate measures. What is this? Where are we going?
In the world of animated storytelling, some films capture attention with spectacle and adventure, while others quietly build a powerful message about hope, perseverance, and the importance of believing in your own potential. One animated film that beautifully blends heartfelt emotion, science fiction imagination, and fast-paced humor is Meet the Robinsons, a colorful and energetic story that revolves around a young boy whose greatest strength is his curiosity and determination to invent. At the center of the story is Lewis, a brilliant yet lonely child who spends most of his time creating inventions in the hope that one of them might finally change his life. Lewis is not an ordinary kid. His mind constantly races with ideas, gears, blueprints, and strange mechanical experiments. While other children might spend their time playing outside, Lewis spends hours assembling gadgets and machines, convinced that one day one of his inventions will help him accomplish the dream he has carried since he was a baby. Lewis grew up in an orphanage after being left on the doorstep as an infant. He has never known his mother, and that unanswered mystery has followed him throughout his childhood. Every adoption interview that comes and goes leaves him disappointed because most families struggle to understand his obsession with inventing. Instead of toys or normal hobbies, Lewis fills his room with unfinished experiments and unusual contraptions that often malfunction in unpredictable ways. His roommate Goob is often caught in the chaos of these inventions, especially when Lewis stays up all night working on a project and accidentally keeps Goob awake. Even though his ideas sometimes fail spectacularly, Lewis refuses to give up. His belief in science and creativity is stronger than the discouragement he experiences. For him, invention is not just a hobby, it is a path toward understanding who he is and where he came from. Driven by his longing to know his past, Lewis begins working on a very ambitious invention. He designs a device meant to scan memories, hoping it can help him uncover the face of the mother who left him years ago. The invention is complicated, delicate, and far beyond the typical experiments of a child, but Lewis pours all his intelligence and hope into finishing it. When the day arrives for him to present the invention at a school science fair, it feels like the most important moment of his life. The science fair represents more than a simple competition. For Lewis, it is an opportunity to prove that his creativity matters and perhaps finally earn the recognition he has been searching for. Yet, as he prepares to demonstrate the machine, something unexpected begins to unfold. Strange events start occurring around him, hinting that his life is about to change in ways he never imagined. In the middle of the science fair chaos appears a mysterious boy named Wilbur Robinson. Wilbur is energetic, confident, and somewhat unpredictable, introducing himself as someone from the future. At first, Lewis has no reason to believe such a strange claim, but Wilbur insists that Lewis is in danger and that someone is trying to steal his invention. The threat comes from an unusual villain known as the bowler hat guy, a peculiar figure whose appearance is as strange as his plans. With a dramatic sense of timing, Wilbur reveals that the bowler hat guy intends to sabotage Lewis's work and potentially alter the future. What begins as a simple science fair demonstration quickly spirals into a wild chase filled with confusion, surprises, and comedic mishaps. When events at the fair go terribly wrong and Lewis's invention seems ruined, Wilbur offers a shocking solution. He invites Lewis to travel with him to the future using a real time machine. The idea sounds impossible, but curiosity has always been Lewis's weakness. Within moments, Lewis finds himself stepping into a futuristic adventure that completely reshapes his understanding of the world. The time machine carries him forward through decades of progress, landing him in a world that looks brighter, faster, and more imaginative than anything he has ever seen. The future that Lewis arrives in is a place overflowing with creativity. Flying cars move gracefully through the air, towering buildings glow with futuristic technology, and everyday life is filled with inventions that seem both ridiculous and brilliant. Wilbur's home, where Lewis is welcomed as a guest, belongs to the Robinson family, a group of eccentric individuals who each have their own unusual personality and talents. Instead of reacting with confusion to Lewis's curiosity, the Robinsons celebrate creativity in every form. Their house is full of experimental gadgets, bizarre pets, unusual machines, and endless energy. For Lewis, this environment feels like a dream come true because it's the first place where his passion for invention is seen as strange or inconvenient. Each member of the Robinson family leaves a memorable impression on Lewis. Some are enthusiastic inventors, others are dreamers, and a few simply enjoy the chaos that comes with living in such an unpredictable household. Despite their quirks, the Robinsons share one important philosophy that defines their lives: the belief that failure is not something to fear. In their world, mistakes are simply stepping stones toward better ideas. This attitude surprises Lewis, who has spent most of his life feeling embarrassed whenever his inventions go wrong. The Robinsons treat failure as something worth celebrating because it means someone had the courage to try something new. While Lewis is exploring this strange future and slowly adjusting to the lively energy of the Robinson household, the shadow of the bowler hat guy still lingers in the background. This mysterious villain continues pursuing his own twisted plan, determined to steal the memory scanning invention and use it for purposes that could disrupt the timeline. His odd appearance and dramatic behavior make him both humorous and threatening at the same time. He's rarely seen without the peculiar bowler hat that gives him his nickname, and the hat itself hides a secret that will eventually play an important role in the story. The tension between Lewis and the bowler hat guy slowly builds as the story unfolds. What initially appears to be a simple conflict between a young inventor and a strange thief gradually reveals deeper layers. The more Lewis learns about the future and the Robinson family, the more questions begin to form in his mind. Something about Wilbur's urgency and the villain's obsession with his invention suggests that there is more at stake than he realizes. Time travel stories often explore the idea that small actions can change the course of history, and Lewis soon discovers that his own life may be connected to the future in ways he never expected. The storytelling style of Meet the Robinsons moves quickly between humor, adventure, and emotional reflection. One moment, the audience is laughing at the wild antics of the Robinson family, and the next moment, the narrative shifts toward a heartfelt exploration of Lewis's longing to belong somewhere. The animation style adds to this sense of movement and excitement, using bright colors and exaggerated expressions to emphasize the playful tone of the film. Yet, beneath the humor and futuristic gadgets lies a deeply human story about identity and the courage to keep moving forward. As Lewis spends more time in the future, he begins to notice something unusual about the way Wilbur behaves around him. Wilbur is friendly, but also nervous, constantly trying to prevent Lewis from discovering certain truths about the future. This secrecy becomes more noticeable as the threat from the bowler hat guy grows stronger. Eventually, the pursuit leads to a dramatic confrontation that reveals the surprising connection between the villain and Lewis's past. The twist surrounding the bowler hat guy introduces one of the film's most powerful ideas. Instead of being a random villain, he represents what can happen when someone allows resentment and disappointment to define their life. His story shows how small moments of failure, if handled with bitterness instead of resilience, can grow into lifelong regret. This contrast highlights the central theme that runs through the entire film: the importance of learning from mistakes rather than letting them control your future. Lewis's journey ultimately becomes more than just a time travel adventure. It transforms into a lesson about self-belief and the power of perseverance. Throughout the film, Lewis repeatedly faces moments when it would be easier to give up. His inventions fail, his plans fall apart, and his search for answers often leads to frustration. But every challenge pushes him closer to understanding that success is built on persistence. The Robinson family's motto about keeping moving forward becomes a guiding philosophy that reshapes how Lewis views his own life. The emotional heart of the story lies in Lewis's desire to find his mother. That search begins as a simple curiosity, but eventually evolves into something deeper. Through his experiences in the future, Lewis starts to realize that the past cannot always be changed, but the future is full of possibilities. The idea that a person's destiny is not defined by where they came from, but the choices they make moving forward becomes one of the most meaningful messages in the film. The relationship between Lewis and Wilbur also grows more complex as the story progresses. What starts as a chaotic partnership slowly turns into a genuine friendship. Wilbur admires Lewis's intelligence and creativity, while Lewis learns to appreciate Wilbur's loyalty and courage. Their bond reflects the larger theme about family, not just the family we are born into, but the one we build through connection and support. As the narrative approaches its climax, the conflict with the bowler hat guy intensifies. The villain's plan threatens to reshape the timeline, creating a future filled with chaos and domination by machines. Lewis is forced to confront the consequences of invention without responsibility, realizing that creativity must be guided by empathy and wisdom. The showdown becomes both a physical and emotional turning point, where Lewis must decide what kind of future he wants to create. In the end, the resolution of the story delivers an unexpected but deeply satisfying twist that ties together the threads of Lewis's journey. The truth about the Robinson family, Wilbur's identity, and Lewis's own destiny forms a powerful reminder that the future is shaped by imagination and determination. The message that echoes throughout the film is simple yet profound. Failure is not the end of the road. Instead, it is often the beginning of something better. Through its blend of humor, science fiction, and heartfelt storytelling, Meet the Robinsons stands as a celebration of creativity and optimism. The film reminds audiences that every great invention begins with an idea, every success begins with a failure, and every future begins with the courage to move forward. Lewis's story resonates because it captures a universal feeling, the desire to find where we belong and to believe that our dreams matter. By the time the story reaches its conclusion, Lewis is no longer the lonely boy searching for answers in the past. Instead, he becomes someone who understands the true power of innovation and hope. His journey through time changes not only his understanding of the future, but also his belief in himself. The inventions, the laughter, the strange adventures, and even the failures all lead him toward a realization that defines the heart of the film. The future is always being built, one idea at a time, by those brave enough to keep moving forward.